Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gears 4 Regional, live from London. Toby Campbell here, joined this time with Callum, aka Wardles. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm pretty swell, mate, honestly, to be perfectly honest. This, little interruption at the start of the day, but in all, everyone seems really happy. Everyone seems great. What are you making so far at the event?
I've actually quite enjoyed it, yeah. Of course, like the power cut happened, but, you know, this venue is actually, I know you guys can't see too much of it, apart from the teams and this side, but it's a nice venue, right? It's a really nice venue. EGL have always been an amazing partner to Gears of War, and it's just been a great event thus far, despite the delays. Hopefully that is behind us now, the power cut issues, should be. But, of course, we just saw that game, simple 2-0 to ERA. Against Void Gaming. But next up, we have a bit of a closer game, many would argue. Probably the most interesting one for me, at least, reading through the bracket this morning. OBN versus Radiant Esports. Of course, this is our look in the bracket in terms of how it's panned out. Of course, Fable will be going against GA. We mentioned earlier, GA Esports ran through, essentially, EVO. Fantastic job from them, and now going against the best team in Europe, and has been for quite a while. Very difficult game. You'd expect Fable to take that one. Mentioned it earlier, DZ 2-0 they took over Orcs Esports. Euro Eternity will be playing Stimulate next. That'll be quite a good game, but, you know, I think you'd agree with me on that one, Callum, that Era should take that one.
Yeah, well, with all the experience that they have on that team, I'm fully expecting Era to take that. Maybe not as comfortably as they was able to take out Void. Yeah. A few more rounds lost, maybe a little bit more stress on the side if things start not to go their way. Don't get me wrong, there's always a chance of an upset, but like you say, Era for me, yeah, they should be taking that one pretty easily. So, yeah, like you said, Supremacy have walked through. And then Radiant OBN, so they'd go through and play, the one of this will play Supremacy. Now, Supremacy, what they've won, is it the the last three 2Ks?
I believe it's something close to that. I know Fable were against Era last time in the semi-final, at least in my stream before it cut out. Last weekend, and this is the thing, right? We know it's Fable, Supremacy, and Era. They're the top three. They're the three to look out for. But, you know, going on Nottingham as well, Era Eternity, they have the potential to really upset the team of Supremacy. You'd expect Fable, no doubt, to be in the grand final. I think we can safely say that. The question is, who is going to be the one playing against them? I mean, I'm just going to put it out there. Who do you think is most likely to come second place this event, or maybe even challenge Fable first?
Right, so, well, looking at the bracket, as we've got it, so Fable are going to play GA. Now, if they win that as we expect them to, then they'll go against DZ. Now, DZ, yeah, it was going to be a tough game. They've been performing quite well online. They've got Brazil on their team. They've got some good players on their team as well, very young, up-and-coming players. So if Fable are able to get past them, then they will be meeting in the semi-final. They'll be meeting Era. So I don't know who's going to prefer that the most. I can't imagine any of them are going to want to meet each other other than if they were going to play each other in the final. But say they're going to play each other in the semi-final, so one of those two teams are going to be knocked down to the losers bracket. Now, Fable and Era, a lot of rivalry there. Don't get me wrong, they're all good friends. But Jack, no doubt, he's going to want to win that game more than any other game here, regardless.
That is safe to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's just how they perform. I watched them at Nottingham, the Nottingham event one was there. And yeah, they played really well, but it got a little bit too late and everyone was tired. So there's no excuses really for either team because it's the same time for both teams. But they really put up a great fight until you could just see it's like momentum just left them because they got pushed aside really in the last map. But as you said, who do I see in the final? To be completely honest, I'm thinking it's Fable Supremacy.
Okay, there you go. Just to be different, and a little bit of intuition, I think Era could be upsetting Supremacy at this event. Of course, we've had so many roster changes for the side of Era. Of course, Precision recently was in the team. He was taken out. Reaction was in. He was out for Incisive. Incisive still in now. Reaction back in. Lots of changes, lots of swaps, but you'd expect the raw skill to just stay the same. And I think that's going to help them and maybe not carry them, but really be an influential factor in actually performing over the rest of the teams in this event. Supremacy, though, that is going to be where the teamwork of both teams really becomes the crucial defining factor for me. Supremacy have star shotgunners themselves, Zorkos, Darkfrag, Baghdad, these names that everyone is familiar with. It's going to be so crucial in defining that one. But of course, on our screen, let's maybe stop the ramble between those three teams because we've got an amazing game coming up now. Radiant versus OBN. Now, we've heard a lot from both of these teams. I was mentioning it earlier with Fro. talking to them, they know this is going to be a close game. It's going to be a great game. Neither team is extremely confident. They know it's going to be a close one. They've said they've played against each other online so many times, and they've had close games each and every time, always going to that last map. And you can see some familiar faces there for even us. And others at home would also see Phrase there.
Yep.
Even Bradmate as well, an ex-teammate of mine, funny enough, who have only just met today. The amazing stuff of LAN.
Really?
Teammate, of course, online, if that's confusing somehow. How have you not met your teammate at LAN? Right, well there you are. Bradmate just sitting in the middle. Very good player, very good shotgun, and I think shotguns are going to be something that's going to be really crucial. Who shows up in the slaying department? That is an important question to answer. But here are the maps. You can see how the picks and bans have gone so far. Reclaimed was banned, first of all, by Radiant. Common map. Just get rid of it straight away. Forge Blitz was banned by OBN. Of course, the newest map in the cycle replaced Dyna, so not too many surprises there straight off the bat. Dam is the pick from Radiant, though. Very teamfight heavy at the start. Impact was picked by OBN. Curious one. That's not usually what we see. A ban of Harbor, a ban of Lift, and if it goes to it, which I think, that's my prediction, I think it will go, the full distance. Foundation will be the last map.
Yeah, so like you said, Foundation, the last map. So a lot of the cycle that we've come used to seeing at the moment is, a lot of the time we've been seeing Foundation reclaimed. I'm really happy that's actually been taken out. We've gone for two completely different, Impact. At the start of the game, I wasn't really a big fan of this map, but since the hills have changed, they've moved back towards the spawn, haven't they?
Yeah.
I actually really like this map, the way that it's played out. Harbor, I'm a fan of Harbor. It's a big angle map. If you can dominate the top half of that map, then you're going to get yourself in a really good position. Now, so I'm just looking at the teams here. So, we've got Trimax, Crump, Twist. What's Myexum and Trinda.
It was Twist, but of course that last minute change. It's not even updated for much of his currently, because Twist very last minute he was out and Flanks was back in. So that could be a telltale actually of what things to come. Such massive roster swaps this event for some teams. Curious to see actually how that influences things here in such a close match. You can see there on our screen Trinda, Crump, Mixum, not Twist. It's not Twist. It's Flanks and Trimax. Those aren't. They're actually on the wrong side for a start as well. But they're being swapped right ahead. Not sure if the seating is correct. Actually, it is. The seating is correct. So there you have it. Radiant Esports, Trinda, Crump, Mixum, Twist, Trimax and Twist, of course, for Flanks. I just said. Radiant, they've got some very experienced players, right? Trimax is one name. I kind of group with Bradmate, Incisive. These are very, very experienced, GB players, online players who haven't had that much experience on LAN, but they have that kind of raw skill potential to
absolutely,
really, cause some upsets.
Oh no, completely. So like you said, the raw skill is definitely there. They've been a team now, so I was speaking to both of them literally just before they was about to play this game, and I was speaking to both teams, and I was actually talking to Phrase and Trinda. So I asked Phrase, I asked them who's gonna win. Phrase goes, us, no doubt. Trinda's like, okay, we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a good game. So Trinda's not going in 100% confident. And now that may be due to the fact that they've had to have a late substitution of Twists. Yep. And they've replaced Flank. Now, Flank's a great player in his own right. I know he's got some great individual skill. But is that going to be able to replace the chemistry that they've been able to build up with Twist over the last few weeks? Is that going to, like you said, is that going to be a big factor in this game? There is a lot of raw skill across the whole 10 players. It's a really close game, one I'm really looking forward to, one the stream will actually really enjoy as well. So don't get me wrong, you do like watching the star players play, so like the team that was just on before for Era, so your Reactions, your Marsh, your Crimson, your Ash, and the new guy Incisive. But this game really is going to be really close contested, and I can just sense that it's just going to be really heated.
Yeah, I have to agree there. You can see both teams kind of composed at this point in time. They know it's not going to be easy. They know it's not going to be a walk in the park, and to be frankly honest, they probably know it's going to go to the last map, judging from past performances. But it is LAN, and we've mentioned there's inexperience. It could, it could even be a landslide one way or another, given the variable that is this LAN event and it not being online anymore. How these players react, especially as a team, is yet to be seen, and can't wait to see how it pans out. It looks like, at least on our screen, we're just waiting on one more player, one more console to get into the game, and we should be good to go. So guys, once again, apologies for the delay. But yeah, definitely. Lots to talk about. Both of these teams are relatively new, regardless of Radiant Esports' dramatic roster changes last second. So they're not necessarily that practiced. But the practice they have had with their core 4, core 5 online against each other has been very close. And yeah, this is going to be a good one.
Yes, no, it absolutely is. I'm just hoping. I wasn't actually completely sure on where Flanks' role in the team. So I'm assuming with him, it's going to be in the middle of things. So that's why I'm expecting him to be in the middle of the fight. So it could have been, if you're getting rid of your home hill player at the start of it, just say the worst comes to the worst and your home hill player is not able to come to the event. Now, yeah, it is a problem. But it's not as much of a problem as maybe as your second spawn, your third spawn, the guy who's going to be there in the majority of those team fights, who's guy who's going to be there, who's going to have built chemistry with the other 3 players around him more than the home hill guy. Don't get me wrong, I know you rotate out, but it's those initials, they are so vital at times to win games. I'm going to go out on a prediction now. Okay. So I'm thinking, I don't know if you're thinking the same, but I'm a big fan of FaZe. Okay. I've been a big fan of him for a very long time, and I just think him and his team are just going to be too strong, and they're going to take out Radiant. What?
Fair enough. I think this OBN squad is definitely kind of like a FaZe squad, right? He's kind of been like the one that sticks everything together and produce this this potential very good team here going to this event. Mixon there on the camera actually pointing towards it. We've had plenty of that this event. It's actually been quite fun. And European events. I've always been a lot about fun. Very good friends here. But yeah, back to the prediction. I'm going to go with Radiant here. Partly just because I like to be different, as I've learned off Momo plenty of times. It is actually quite funny at times when one loses out on a prediction. But I actually think Radiant could prove to upset here some of the veterans in OBN. I like Trinder as a player. I like Mixon. Mixon is said to be one of the most underrated players here in Gears 4. A very good Slayer. Crump equally a very good player. Not Twist as it says in the bottom third. It's actually Flanks, a good player in himself. I've spoken to players like Breaker from Stimulate. They believe Flanks is a very good player, and Flanks actually being in this roster isn't that much of an issue for them. Many think they can just pick it up and get it going regardless. Trimax, perhaps an underrated player himself. Very, very good Gears, the War 3 player. Everyone essentially knows who this guy is just from how he's performed online, and that's him closest to the camera there on the right there. I think Radiant could take this. I think it could go either way. I'm not too confident in that prediction, but I think Radiant have the potential to upset OBN.
Oh, so I'm hoping so. I'm wanting the best of 3. I'm wanting the full.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
wanting the full. I'm wanting the 2-1. But say you've gone against me, like you say, you wanted to do it. That's absolutely fine.
We're engaging in battle. That's how it's going to go.
But OBN. So they're looking at the teams now. So they're all standing up now.
They're all composing themselves. It's clear. Well, let's give them a bit of a bracket update, shall we? Wardle's just checking to my right. We've only just had this come in actually. Team Cryptic, currently 3rd seed. Me and Fru were just touching upon that earlier due to that roster swap last minute. Precision joining Cryptic. They actually beat Warm Toast 2-0, so they are moving on to round 3 along with Most Wanted. They gave 2-0 to One Defiant Alliance Gaming. And so next round in that bottom half of the bracket, it will be Cryptic versus Most Wanted. Another good game.
It is, yeah.
Close. I would have to give the edge to Cryptic, but Most Wanted is one of these teams that have a lot of practice together. Of course, recently losing Syntax in that roster, but once again, the core 4, they've had lots of practice together, and I think it could prove to be a good game with that land variable thrown in, but Cryptic favourite for that one, I think.
Oh, no, absolutely. Just looking at the Slayers on the Cryptic team, so Liam, for me, that's just my personal opinion. I think he's individually the best player on the game. Not on the game, the best player in Europe.
Wow, okay. Prediction?
That's from me. Strikers and Visions, fantastic players in themselves. Precision, damn right, he definitely deserves to be on this team. So unfortunately, he's not in error anymore. But I thought he was a standout player when he was in his old team. Was it Radiant? Was it his old team? Do you know the old XL team with Breaker? Yeah. And I thought he was a standout player in that team, and I always thought he deserved to maybe try the step up, to try to get into the elite European teams, if you will. And Ronslaw, absolute favourite of mine anyway. I've known him for years. I thought he's been amazing.